Roller coasters are every child's dream because they are fun and thrilling. But on this one particular day, this terrible accident leading to the death of Asia Ferguson would go down as being one of the worst cases of death in amusement park history. This is the shocking story of the Batman roller coaster. Asia Leeshawn was born in Georgia, where he also grew up to the delight of his parents and the admiration of his neighbors and church members. At 17, he was already a senior at W.J. Newman High School in Springfield. He planned to join the National Guard until the tragic incident ended his life. Asia loved God and things that had to do with the church. He often made the children laugh, and everyone loved to hang around him. Generally, he was a people person. Asia prioritized his education and focused more on his future to make his parents proud. The Ferguson family attended church and participated in every activity. Asia and his family were members of Okie Spring Baptist Church in Sally, South Carolina, and he was also a youth choir member. The management had planned for the congregation, including the adults and kids, to spend a day at Six Flags over Georgia. It was a beautiful day on the 28th of June 2008. Everyone wore their beautiful clothes for the event and looked forward to having a great day. They would not have embarked on the trip if they had known what was about to happen. Perhaps the promising Asia, who would have been 32 years old today, would not have lost his life. Six Flags over Georgia is located in Mapletown. It was established in 1967 over a sprawling 290 acres. The park showcases unique themes from the Warner Brothers Entertainment universe to appeal to customers, mostly children. Also, Six Flags' most sought-after roller coaster was named after the popular Batman character from the DC comic. The Batman is an inverted roller coaster designed to imitate the move of the crime-fighting Batman as he glides through the air to fight off criminals and villains. Its highest height is recorded at 105 feet, and its top speed is a breathtaking 50 miles per hour. As of 2008, it was the first inverted roller coaster in the world. It boasted of grand loops and huge screws to enable its safety for operators and users alike. The church day outing was going as planned, with adults having small talks as the children took turns riding the roller coasters. The day simply couldn't get any better. At some point in the afternoon, the group decided to come together to have lunch as most of the group members had started to get hungry. The church had factored this into their plan. They had brought their own food, so all they did was bring out the various food items they had prepared for the event. However, after the food was laid out, Asia and some of his friends didn't like what was served, so they visited some of the restaurants around the amusement park to try out their food. On their way back, Asia and one of his friends broke off from the rest and decided to take a shorter route, which was when tragedy struck. For reasons that could only be guessed later, they scaled a 6-foot fence to get into the compound of the amusement park. As if that wasn't enough, Asia saw another fence of the same height as the first, but this one had huge warning signs to keep people out of the area. This didn't seem to deter him, as he jumped it and entered an area marked "Danger, do not enter." Whether he was having fun or had a huge smile plastered on his face for doing something others were afraid to do, the moment didn't last, as the fast-running Batman roller coaster ride came hurtling and knocked him off. It happened in the blink of an eye, and before anyone could say jack, he was struck by one of the giant metallic plates meant to keep the rider's legs from hitting one another during the air voyage. The impact of the hit was so much that he laid still instantly. An off-duty policeman waiting to ride the Batman roller coaster saw the event unfold. He called for help, and in less than 10 minutes, the scene was filled with paramedics and policemen. On getting to the scene, which had now been crowded by his parents, the church group, and onlookers, the police asked everyone to leave so they could look at the injured body and see if anything could be done to save the young boy. Sadly, Asia's stillness wasn't just from unconsciousness. He died instantly upon impact. And he wasn't just dead. His head had been severed off and lay a few feet from where his body lay. He had been gruesomely decapitated. It was a dark Saturday for the Ferguson family, the Oakley Spring Baptist Church congregation, and the entire Six Flags over Georgia amusement park. The police set to work immediately. They wanted to conduct a full investigation to know if any screw was not in its proper place or if the management had knowingly subject people to danger for profit reasons. The police ordered that the Batman roller coaster be made to run briefly to know the speed it was running when the accident happened. But in the end, nothing was found amiss. The amusement park had followed all protocols and detected no foul play. What happened was just an unfortunate accident. Once that has been cleared up, the next question for everyone was why Asia was in the restricted zone. When his parents were asked, they said their son wasn't a rebel who deliberately violated rules for the fun of it. They strongly believed that their son Asia must have had a reason for going there. Then soon afterward, his friends started coming forward with possible reasons he had entered the danger zone. Some said he had simply gone there to retrieve his hat that had fallen while they were riding the Batman roller coaster. Another set of people said Asia was looking for a shortcut to reach the Batman roller coaster ahead of others while returning from the restaurant. Whatever the truth was, only Asia could have volunteered it, but he was lying stone dead. The living could only guess. Out of respect for the deceased family, the park was shut down for a few days for further investigation. During this investigation, however, the police discovered that Asia Ferguson's case was not the first accident that would lead to an awful death at the Six Flags Over Georgia amusement park. About 6 years before the tragic loss of Asia, an employee who worked as a groundskeeper had also lost his life due to the famous Batman roller coaster. Does that mean the Batman roller coaster is a machine of death and should have been banned before subsequent casualties? On the 26th of May, 2002, a 58-year-old man named Samuel Milton Guyton was at work, keeping the ground as usual. For reasons not known, the man found himself in the Batman tracks, an area that was only open to trained personnel. Well, Guyton had found himself there. He was either unaware of the gravity of what he had done, or it was too late for him to retrace his steps. Just as he was about to think of his way out, his head was struck by the dangly leg of a rider. Remember that when riding on a roller coaster, your body would be securely strapped to your seat, but your legs will be left to dangle freely in the air. This was what happened to Guyton in 2002. The moment the rider's leg hit him, he was knocked down, but unlike Asia Ferguson, he didn't die immediately. Guyton suffered a heart attack and died shortly after. While Guyton didn't make it, 2 other people had to be taken to the hospital. The teenager whose leg had caused the casualties suffered a dislocation, while the lady behind her was also hit by her shoes. The park was shut down for a few days for safety measures by the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration. It was investigated and subsequently declared safe for riding. In the case of Asia Ferguson, witnesses had 1 or 2 things to say. Some thought that the fences were rather too low for easy scaling. They believed that Asia could have escaped the untimely death if stricter measures had been taken to ensure wanderers didn't get in the danger zone even if they tried. Perhaps security personnel should have been stationed in the area to dissuade people like Asia from unnecessary adventure and possible self-harm or suicide. In the end, Asia's father did not blame anyone, even though the death of their son was tragic. Even if they wanted to initiate a lawsuit, no one was held responsible because a warning sign had been erected for everyone to see, and the deceased was of age to read and discern. The sad incident was a warning to everyone, especially parents, to make sure their children stick to the rules of amusement parks. What do you think about the grievous death of Asia, who would have been 32, successful, and possibly married with kids today if his life had not ended abruptly at the Six Flags amusement park? Do you think the management should have been held liable since the fence was said to have been too easy to jump over?